Jeff, do you get that feeling now with Griffin in place with the Pelicans? He just brings a sense of legitimacy to the franchise.
Yeah, I think the Pelicans knew that the ownership and management, I think, have to be credited for going about this the right way. I think they realized they weren't experts in the basketball business, and they put their faith in the hands of Adam Silver, who the commissioner of the NBA, who wants it to work down here in New Orleans, and he advised them to get the best headhunter in the business, and that's Mike Ford, who has worked with in NBA teams throughout the league, and the headhunting aspect of this search could not have come up with a better crew of candidates, and David Griffin was at the top of the list. So they really think you have to give Gail Benson, Dennis Lausch, and that group credit for understanding and knowing what they didn't know and sacrificing their egos for a while and putting in the hands of other people to come up with this list of candidates, and then they made the wise selection of David Griffin. But a lot of organizations wouldn't have done that, and I think it starts at the top.
What do you make of his first big move when you saw the trade come back? Davis out to L.A., 3 first-round picks, Josh Hart, bringing Brandon Ingram, and Lonzo Ball. Your first feeling was what?
Well, look, I think David Griffin did the best he could with a limited market. There wasn't the market was diminishing on him rapidly with every growing day as they got closer to the draft. People knew that Griff wanted to make this deal on that weekend because he frankly wanted to get some he knew he was probably going to get some draft pick return, and he wanted to get those players in for visits. He couldn't get, for instance, a Darius Garland to come visit New Orleans because his agents knew he wasn't going to be the number one overall pick. So to open up that draft process, he had to get the deal done this weekend. He was losing leverage. Rich Paul didn't help matters by proclaiming that Davis wasn't going to go to Boston, was going to go into free agency. So I think to extract the return he did from a desperate Lakers organization was brilliant. It was a totally different market at this time this weekend than it was 5 months ago when they were entertaining trade offers. And let's eliminate that thought process right now, guys. No one was going to allow Dell Demps to make a trade that significant when you knew you were moving on from the general manager. So it's really foolish to try and compare what they could have had then to what they got now.
Yeah, I mean, look, we laid it out yesterday. There's so many different reasons from the Pelicans now having the first pick, the Lakers have the fourth pick, how those seasons ended up. Like, there's ample reason why you needed to wait, and mainly the Dell Demps angle on that trade. I want to ask you about that fourth pick and maybe what their plans are for that pick. We're here a couple days away. I know the early talk was like package it and trade it. Where do you think the Pelicans currently sit on that front?
Well, there's definitely shopping the pick. I don't think they are enamored with anyone at number 4. I think they feel strongly that this is it's really a 2-3-tiered top 10, and Zion being by himself at number 1. And then you have teams split on Ja Morant and R.J. Barrett for the second and third picks. And then after that, it drops off. There's a lot of players that you could take at number 4 that some teams are going to feel better about, and other teams might get somebody at number 8 or 9 that they feel was better than who went at 4. So I think the Pelicans are wise to be shopping that pick around. What I know that what they want is to add a veteran player to the mix. David Griffin doesn't want to surround his cornerstone, Zion Williamson, with a bunch of young cats. I mean, he would prefer to have some winning pedigree on the court. You've got Drew Holiday right now, but bringing in Brandon Ingram and Lonzo Ball doesn't really solve that. Those guys have lost a lot of games in the NBA. They're talented, but they haven't been around a winning culture yet, and I know he values that. So I think he was trying to find a veteran player. But if it's not there, he's not just going to make a deal to make a deal. I wouldn't be surprised if he trades down out of that into a lower level in the draft, in the top 10 maybe or so, and then tries to take a player that they really like. Because I don't think they feel like 4 the player is going to be any better there than what they get at number, say, 8 or 9.
Yeah, I mean, I think I like that as well. Trading back, maybe get a couple first-round picks in the mix From like you said, from 4 on, it's kind of a grab bag there. What do you think about the additions of Ingram and Ball and Hart? Like outside of all the control over the Lakers draft and everything, like how do you think these guys can factor into this team next year?
Well, I'm kind of higher on Lonzo Ball than a lot of people
Me too.
are. I think I think he gets a bad rap because of his his crazy father, and but I think the kid's a winner. I mean, I've liked him all the way since he was a top high school prospect, and I think he fits well into Alvin Gentry's system. They're going to get out and get up and down the court, and he's a brilliant passer, good defender. He's obviously had some injury concerns. He's got some holes in his game. He's got to learn to finish better and certainly work on his shooting. But he's a gym rat, and I know David Griffin values those kind of guys that are passionate about the game, and Lonzo Ball definitely is. And Brandon Ingram has just gotten better and better every year in the league. We forget these guys are young. I mean, he's going to be 22 in September, so there's a lot to like about his game. But they've got to find some. They've still got a lot of work to do, guys. I mean, they've got to find an outside shooter. I mean, I don't think you characterize anybody there that is a sharp shooting wing, somebody that can just knock down, say like a Nico Mirotic that can just knock down shots from the 3-point line. They may not be that kind of team. They may not be able to get that this year. And I think they need rim protection. Right now they really don't have that. People are going to kill them inside if they can't find somebody to protect the rim. But that's all part of the plan here. This isn't going to happen overnight. I think it's going to take a little patience. But they got such a huge leg up on everything by getting Zion Williamson. I mean, that just changed everything because now you've got the guy. He's, quote, the guy, and you build around him, whereas if you didn't get him, you don't know any of these other guys that could be the cornerstone of a franchise. They have that now, so everything builds off of Zion Williamson.
Griffin announced on Monday that the Pelicans were exercising the team option on head coach Alvin Gentry to extend his contract through the 2021 season. He's going into the 5th year. What do you make of him as the leader of the group?
Yeah, look, that surprised me a little bit, to be honest with you. I thought there might be a move of Alvin Gentry into the front office. I know that Gail Benson really likes him and respects him, and I didn't know if Alvin wanted to keep on this grind, but I think he's been rejuvenated by the Zion Williamson selection, the opportunity to select him. And I know that he and David Griffin are aligned on a lot of things. And that's the best thing that happened to Alvin here in New Orleans was David Griffin, someone he's worked with, someone that knows him, knows his strengths and weaknesses. And, I think as long as they see eye to eye, and I expect them to continue to do so, I think, this thing has a chance to go somewhere pretty special as long as everybody's lockstep. And those guys have worked together. They know each other really well. They respect each other. So I think that's a good sign.
Jeff, while we got you, my producer wants to kill me because I got one more question for you. The Mike Thomas situation, Mickey Loomis is talking about it publicly. What happens here?
Oh, they're going to get that done. Now, where they fall, what kind of number, I don't know. But they've got to get that done. It's the next priority. I know they're working on it right now. But, it might take a little while. And there's no urgency for them to do it, right now. I mean, they've got him under contract for another year and can certainly franchise him. But I know that for cap purposes and for locker room, they have to take care of these kind of players, these superstars that have earned their contract. And certainly Mike Thomas has because everybody's watching it in the locker room. So they've got to take care of Mike just like they did with Cam Jordan, and I expect him to do it. But I don't know if he's going to end up being the highest-paid receiver in the NFL or not. I mean, I think that might be difficult to achieve given some of their cap limitations.
At Jeff Duncan _ is where you find him. Jeff Duncan with some great knowledge this morning on the New Orleans Pelicans and the Mike Thomas situation. Thank you, man.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me on, man. Take care.
We'll close it out next.